Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business and let's wake up the football gods this morning. It is Taco Tuesday on a short week for the New York Jets, who will be coming to Dallas to take on the Dallas Cowboys, and for the Philadelphia Eagles, who will be playing Kirk Cousins in prime time, a little battered and bruised. Man, I've gotten bits and pieces of it. I'm going to be heading down the road, working on the Red Brick House as well as some other projects and things. And I'm going to listen to the whole 37-minute podcast of Micah Parsons, who definitely has a future in content creation. In fact, you can already say he will be a one-man marketing crew when he actually devotes his time. One thing about Micah Parsons you can say is when he sets his mind to do something, it seems like he will be successful. And he touched on a lot of topics, from Daniel Jones still being in there and basically lambasting the Giant staff for saying, you've got to protect your franchise quarterback. Why is he still out there? We are killing the guy, which he makes a great point of it. I don't know if this was punishment for him to set a tone or what, but they had already benched Saquon and taken out their offensive line. And here it is. He's still out there getting eaten alive by the Dallas Cowboys. Let's listen to Micah Parsons for a few moments.
And I said already, this is a statement year. And I'm going to talk about why I said that, okay? Yes, I do talk a lot. Yes, I speak highly. I'm very opinionated. I talk my trash. I do my junk, but I like to back it up. And, when you're a competitor and you keep coming close, you keep edging the knot a little bit, you keep getting closer. We took a jump. And I just think everyone said, nah, the Cowboys can't do it. The Cowboys can't do it. Micah Parsons can't do it. Dak Prescott can't do it. We don't have enough. We can't do it. It's just like, okay, take it all in. And we're coming. I'm not here no more. I'm not first year Micah no more. Second year Micah. We're not first year Cowboys no more. Second year Cowboys. Third year experienced vet group. We coming.
We coming.
Guys, we coming. So y'all just buckle up. Get ready. It's gonna be a long journey. But I'm gonna see y'all on top of that mountain. And we're gonna take a lot of people into that death zone and see if they can breathe. Because not everybody can breathe the same altitude as you. I'm going to let y'all know that right now. When people are meant to go some places that other people can, they learn they can't breathe and they go back down that mountain. We're going to see who can breathe in that death zone. Something to think about.
Damn. Taking them to the dead zone. We coming. You know, it's funny because before the Giants game, I said this. I mean, listen to me. I just listen to me for a second. We can go back on the tapes. Maybe my favorite troll will go back and get the clips, since he gets everything else, and pull it up. Because I said, what I hope for the Dallas Cowboys, I said, I hope that they go into New York and they destroy them. They annihilate them, just like in Remember the Titans. They leave no doubt that we them boys. And I said, what I hope happens with the Cowboys is they take in all of that shit that you hear on a daily basis. That, Dak Prescott, he's not the guy. He's not that good. He's a turnover machine. Where they literally every single year come up with a new Dak knock. Remember, they were winning 13-3, but he's a dink and dunker. He's not pushing the ball down. They're winning, but he's not pushing the ball down the field. He's a bus driver. Then when he started pushing the ball down the field, they started questioning the games that they win. Well, it's garbage. He's making those yards in garbage time. Garbage time. Have you heard anybody say dinking and dunking since that time? Been labeled a dink and dunker? I haven't. Have you heard anybody else get talked about that their stats are padded because it's garbage time? Then they came up with interceptable plays because he wasn't throwing interceptions. They said, but that play could have been intercepted, but it wasn't. Now it's interceptions. Like he turns over the football constantly. 1 year with a broken thumb. They seem to forget that he had a broken thumb. They forget that he had lost his left tackle. But be that as it may, you hear your digs that you're not a top 10 cornerback, even though you lead the league in interceptions. Well, interceptions aren't that big anymore because a Cowboy player leads it. But yeah, the defense is just Micah Parsons' show. It's just Micah Parsons. It's one dude. It was only Zeke Elliott for the offense. That's the only reason why. All these things, you know. Tyron Smith is too old. Tyler Smith should have been a second or third round draft pick. Mozzie, we're going to call him Mozzie Pad. Mozzie Pad. That you hear all of this crap, and at some point it builds up inside of you, and you say, I'm not going to take this shit anymore. And you just explode, and I think that's what happened Sunday night. Now, as great as that game was, it's just one of 17 games. It ain't counting anymore. Well, it is a little more because it was a division game. But it's not counting more than those other ones. You have to follow it up. You got to keep that same energy. Now, this week, we've got the Jets, who have come off a very emotional win. Now, the fear...
I said already, this is a statement year.
Excuse me.
And I'm going to talk about...
The fear is that Aaron Rodgers on the first series may be done. He ended up possibly, and they're going to do an MRI this morning. They believe it's an Achilles tendon tear. And the reason they believe it's Achilles tendon tear, well, let's back it up. He ended up getting tackled. The guy didn't fall on him, but he was kind of spun around. His foot was planted, and it looks like it may have given the Achilles. He ended up being helped off the field with a noticeable limp. He ended up going to the locker room immediately on a cart from the tent. By the time they got him to the locker room, they had a soft boot on him, and he went in, got x-rays. X-rays don't show ligament and tendon tears, only show bones. What they've been talking about is, and the fear is from the Jets, is that it is Achilles tendon tear. And I want to show what they're talking about is, if you look at they're talking about his leg reverberating. And that is, and at first when I looked at this, I said, well, did his foot kick it? But it looks like it starts jumping. You'll see his calf muscle kind of get that shake. Because I can't tell if his foot kicked it first or if it started doing that beforehand. But clearly that foot's down and it's extended, and that's not good. It's definitely, they said it's an ankle issue, but it's the calf. Now, again, we're all weekend doctors that are looking at this. So it's safe to say that I don't think he's going to be playing against the Cowboys. And the question will he be playing at all this season? And I have to imagine that the Jets are in a state of shock. But they were gifted a game. Consolation prize, they have the lead over Buffalo in their division. Yeah, they're leading their division without Aaron Rodgers. Go figure. And I can't wait. I'm going to be on the road, so I'm going to be listening to the shows and things. I can't wait to hear what they say about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, they scored, oh my God, 16 points. Josh Allen. Remember the cover of Madden, Josh Allen? Josh Allen that, you can't say anything, Josh Allen and compare Dak. Because when you say Josh Allen had almost as many interceptions as Dak, but he had a lot more fumbles and led the league in turnovers. When you say that his wide receiver literally in the playoffs game at home, that they only scored 10 points, literally goes like, dude, what the F? What the F? And literally, they ended up having a whole altercation that carried through the summer. disagreements. It seemed like Diggs was sending out all these cryptic tweets and wanting to get out of there. The coach addressed it. Josh Allen said, we squashed all that. Well, you may have squashed it up until last night, but when you throw not one, not two, but 3 interceptions to the same guy and fumble the ball twice and lose it on the same play, have 4 turnovers in one game where you are going against Zach Wilson, who could not get the ball past the line of scrimmage. You lose to them. I don't know if this is a bigger disgrace than what happened to the Giants the night before in that same stadium. There is nowhere else to point the finger than Josh Allen. Now, will Josh Allen be given a pass, which I'm betting he kind of does? I'm sure they'll say, well, Josh Allen's got to be better, but he's probably just rusty. He didn't play any preseason. I'm not worried about Josh Allen. You have those games. I can hear Colin Cowherd now. I throw out the interceptions, when you're, the cover Madden guy. I'm glad that he was actually getting the ball downfield. He was challenging. He's a gunslinger. He could do that. I'm okay with that. He'll settle down. It was the whole shock of 911 and seeing Aaron Rodgers. I can hear all of the excuses that they will make for this. I can hear them. But and I know, if that was Dak Prescott, the blogosphere would break. The blogosphere would literally have broken. There'd be nothing left. Seriously. We'll see how they treat him with this today, because it was ugly. You're like, this is supposed to be the guy who's head and shoulders above that. Because, see, the Cowboys win 40-0. Dak doesn't turn the ball over like Josh Allen or Daniel Jones or Sam Howell or Jalen Hurts. They say he looks shaky, even though CD dropped a touchdown catch. How many drops did we have by our tight ends that were on the money? They didn't say we had a bunch of drops, that the Cowboys offense wasn't quite in sync. Maybe after the way the defense was playing, they kind of relaxed. No. It was, your team got a 40-0 blowout. Your defense is great, but, your quarterback looks shaky. Okay. My quarterback looked like shaky. If he looked shaky, what was Josh Allen? Because what is that? Ass with a slice of ass on top of it. Let's see how they go with it. Now, I haven't heard Greeny's silence. Now Greeny, he may be on the George Washington Bridge right now. I don't know. He may be losing it because everything has been Aaron Rodgers. But this was from yesterday on the embarrassment of the Giants.
But here's what has to be said. The Giants look more like last year was a mirage than you could ever possibly imagine. Their season last year, which had everyone all excited, and their coach won Coach of the Year when he deserved it, and Daniel Jones got paid a fortune of money and everything else. They won a lot of one-possession games. They played good defense. And when the chips have been down, the last 2 games you've played that mattered, Nuno, were both over in the first half. The game against the Eagles in the playoffs last year, and then the game last night, you could have gone to sleep at halftime. You did not need to watch them. I think the Giants, the only word I can think of to use is exposed. I don't say this with pleasure. I'm now trying to give legitimate analysis here. I think the Giants have been exposed. They were a well-coached team last year that won a bunch of games they probably didn't deserve to. I'm not saying they're 40-0 bad, but that was closer to the truth, I think, than whatever they were 11-6 or whatever it was last year.
Yeah, they're closer to, and obviously they're closer to last place in this division, right? Again, even being in second, finishing second in this division. That's how I think just the gap is. I was thinking about this. I was driving in. there was a point in time with that Pats game and the Eagles, right? You're like, oh, this is going to get ugly for the Pats. We're going to start talking about, is Mac Jones the guy? But they actually had some fight and should have won that game. And there was none of that after that first drive with the Giants, that they couldn't do anything. Even that first drive, which looked good, but Daniel Jones was still running for his life. They were still getting through that right side of that offensive line, where it's so demoralizing as a fan, where I'm just thinking, like, I have to put up with this the rest of the year.
Well,
and it's going to be disgusting.
It's about to get worse, because the other thing you're going to have to put up with all year is that Dallas defense. Now, Hembo, this is not good for you, news for you either. I see Cam is wearing an Eagles shirt today, and you obviously are an Eagles fan. And I'm looking forward to seeing the Jets play tonight, because I think the Jets will have an outstanding defense. But the Cowboys, I think, served notice last night that their defense is legit, and they are going to make them a force to be reckoned with all year long.
No doubt. I mean, there were two units in the NFL yesterday that impressed me more than any other. It was the Dolphins offense,
yes,
and the Cowboys defense, which looks like it has the potential to be an all-time great defense. Micah Parsons is the best football player in the world regardless of position. He's better at what he does than any player in the NFL is at what he does. They've also got a ferocious secondary. They've got more depth along that defense than I realized. We talk so much about Dak Prescott and some of his deficiencies that we take away from the fact that this is the best defense in the NFL. This is the third season now under Dan Quinn. They've played 35 games under him. They've got 70 takeaways in 35 games. That's really, really easy.
That's really good.
To do. This is an opportunistic unit. It's a deep unit. It's a stacked unit. On the other side, the Giants have been outscored 78-7 in the last two games they played. That matter.
That's my point.
78-7.
They have looked fugazi. In the
Eagles
that's
gave up 7.
New York expression, I think, and I think everyone who is a Giant fan will know what I mean. You can watch our program on the ESPN app. Just click on Watch, look for #Greeny, and you can enjoy, unless you're a fan of the Giants, in which case you're not going to enjoy anything right now like Nuno is. Here's the other thing I will say about the Cowboys, and I'll say this to both Nuno and to Bubba, because Bubba is a Cowboy fan, but Nuno, this I think you will relate to more than anybody. There were some players in sports history who are so great that you don't compare anyone to them. Like to say the words, he reminds me of Lawrence Taylor, just immediately is too much. But I want to give a shout out. At 5:30 this morning, I'm standing on the street outside my building, and one thing led to another. My car wasn't going to, I have an Uber coming and it's not going to make it, so I'm hoping a cab is going to go by, whatever it is. I'm trying to get to work. And a guy walks by me. And you know one of those moments where you're staring down at your phone because I'm trying to figure out if the car is going to make it to where I am or not. A bunch of streets are closed. I don't know what was going on. But without my being aware of it, some guy is standing next to me, and he just looks right over me without saying a word, and he says, Micah Parsons is the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. And I just turned to him, and I don't even see it coming. It was like a voice coming from the beyond. And so I give a shout-out to that guy, whoever he was, because I wouldn't have had the guts to say it, but he made me think it. That guy is the second coming of Lawrence Taylor. When you watch him play, the way he closes, Lawrence Taylor had the most remarkable combination, anyone old enough to have seen him play,
That would be me.
speed, quickness, and ferocity of any player I've ever seen. Micah Parsons looks like him. Like when you watch, it just reminds you of what that used to look like.
And in effect, what you're doing is playing 11 on 12 because he's completely unblockable one-on-one. And he opens up so many opportunities for the rest of his teammates to do all sorts of other stuff. Like when you have one guy that plays a premium position that can win one-on-one on practically every play, that's the effect. You force you force your opponent to turn the football over at historic rates, and you allow everyone else in that defense to really, really play up. He's going to win the Defensive Player of the Year this year, and probably a few more times.
So, very quickly, Nuno, your thoughts on that? Is this Cowboys team? Here's the bad news: the Giants look awful. Here's the worst news: the Cowboys look like world beaters. I can't imagine anything could be worse for you waking up this morning, Nuno. What is your reaction?
Here's the only small silver lining is it was their defense, right? Dak wasn't put in a position to make a play in terms of, do we know if those turnovers are gone? Like, that's the one small little silver lining of we still didn't see their offense make a play when they needed to. So, we'll wait to see if he's fixed those issues.
Your silver lining is you're still counting on Dak to be bad. What you're saying is that any game their defense
I love
will
it.
win all by
I love
itself, you're counting on Dak to give away.
Listen, I'm just trying to find something, Greeny.
Silver lining should have been the kicking. If she immediately misses the first extra point, that was ridiculous.
I'm just trying to find something to be happy about because this feels like it's going to be a long, unbearable season.
I mean, the Cowboys'
Yeah.
defense and special teams scored 2 touchdowns. They scored more touchdowns than 10 offenses in the NFL yesterday. I don't know that this is like an 85 Bears kind of good defense. I think that's kind of sacrilege too. Like, you can't really compare anyone to them or other legendary defenses
Not
like
yet.
that. But if Dak Prescott plays league average football, this team should win 12 games and advance deeply into the playoffs. Their defense being this good, I think will actually sort of put way more pressure on him than perhaps he's ever had in his career.
All right, very quickly, before I let Nuno go and just wallow in his misery for the rest of his day, let's just go through a couple of games here. Giants,
That's good.
the only
enough.
good
So there we have it. We'll see. You know, again, Cowboys get a big win, and they say, well, the hope is that Dak Prescott is just bad. Dak Prescott, you know, it's just crazy to me because everybody was saying, well, you know, Cooper Rush, you know, Dak needs to learn from Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush is 4-1. You know, he didn't turn the ball over until the Eagle game where it was 3. But he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't take chances. The team ended up being that team that was just going to pound him into submission and not make mistake-free football. We do that, and what happens? Well, Dak Prescott didn't impress me. You know, he didn't put the team on his shoulder and make it 60-0. Forget that the players drop passes. Forget this is the first time they've actually played all together in preseason. That doesn't matter. He's under the microscope. Can't wait to be on the road to hear the talking heads this morning because I hope they have a bottle of hot sauce because they all need to be eating some serious crow because they definitely thought that Daniel Jones was that guy. Didn't complain about him getting paid the $40 million. Told us how good they were. Literally said, Greg Jennings, I trust Daniel Jones more than Dak Prescott. That the New York Giants, they're coming for the meats. Yeah. But that's life of being a Dallas Cowboys content creator. You always end up getting shit. Hope you guys have a great Tuesday, and we will see you down at the Red Brick House.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing.